हाय फ्रेंड्स, होप यू आर डूइंग वेल। आज के इस वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे रिसेंट बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट की रूलिंग के बारे में। और इस रूलिंग में मैटर इन्वॉल्व है द नेवर एंडिंग कंट्रोवर्सी ऑफ रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग। इस रूलिंग के द्वारा बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने एसएससी को एक बहुत बड़ी राहत दी है और जो 1617 की नोटिस है 148 की, उसको क्वॉश कर दिया है। नॉट ओनली दैट, जो सीबीटी का सर्कुलर था आफ्टर आशीष अग्रवाल केस, उसको भी बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने इनवैलिड और एरोनस बताया है। सो देखते हैं केस क्या है। ये केस इन्वॉल्व है सीमेंस फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड वर्सेस डेप्यूटी कमिश्नर ऑफ इनकम टैक्स, और ये जजमेंट डिलीवर हुआ था 25 अगस्त 2023 को। केस बहुत ही सिंपल है। एसएससी एक एनबीएफसी है और ड्यूरिंग द असेसमेंट ईयर 1617 एसएससी ने रिटर्न फाइल किया बाय डिक्लेयरिंग इनकम ऑफ 44 करोड़। आफ्टरवर्ड एसएससी रिवाइज रिटर्न and declaring total income at 50 crores। फिर रिटर्न रेगुलर असेसमेंट के लिए सिलेक्ट हुआ 143(2) में, और 143(3) में उसका असेसमेंट खत्म हुआ बाय एक्सेप्टिंग द रिवाइज रिटर्न एज असेस्ड इनकम विदाउट मेकिंग रिस्पोंडेंट नंबर 1 यानी रेवेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट passed an assessment order dated so and so under section 143(3) without making an adjustment to total income as reported petitioner in its revised return of income। अब तक सब ठीक, सब अच्छा। नाउ द कंट्रोवर्सी केम इन 2021। So almost after 3 years later, petitioner received notice dated 25th June 2021 under 148 for reason stating that there was reason to believe that income for the AY 1617 has escaped the assessment within the meaning of 147. The impugned notice mentioned the necessary satisfaction of the range 8(2) has been obtained. Petitioner was also provided the reason recorded for the reopening of the assessment. उसका रिप्लाई पिटिशनर ने दिया और रिप्लाई में पिटिशनर ऐसा बताया कि petitioner by reply dated so and so notice issued under 148 and submitted that the notice has been issued as per the provision of 147 to 151 as they stood prior to the substitution via Finance Act 21, and respondent should assume jurisdiction post 21 in terms of the amended provision. Petitioner pointed out that the dated 25th June is bad in law and requested respondent to drop the assessment. उसका ऑब्वियसली रेवेन्यू ने कोई रिप्लाई नहीं दिया और असेसमेंट शुरू कर दिया। Petitioner was served with notice dated 26 November 21 under 142(1). Petitioner responded by letter dated 28 December 21. Thereafter, respondent 1 issued later show cause notice dated 31st May 2021, that is post आशीष अग्रवाल, जबकि सबको नोटिस मिली थी शो कॉज under 148 AB, wherein respondent had referred to notice dated 25th June. In the said notice dated, respondent referred the various writ petition that had been filed in Bombay High Court as well as courts challenging the validity of the notices issued under section 148, and also referred the apex court in case of Ashish Agrawal, and stated that the notice issued under 148 shall be deemed to be issued under 148A substituted by the Finance Act 21 and shall be treated as SCN under 148B। रिस्पोंडेंट 1 यानी रेवेन्यू ने बाद में उस नोटिस को 148A को 148B में डीम्ड माना, जैसे कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट में बताया था, और also relied on information and material annexed to the show cause notice suggesting that income chargeable to tax has escaped the assessment within the meaning of 147। ये उसका जो एनेक्चर है, उन्होंने जो कौन सी इंफॉर्मेशन के बेसिस पे बताया था वो इंफॉर्मेशन है, वो इस केस में रिलेवेंट नहीं है, क्योंकि हाई कोर्ट ने जो टेक्निकल लेक्यूना है उसके बेस पे ही जजमेंट दिया है। उन्होंने जो केस का मेरिट है उसमें उन्होंने डिग नहीं किया है। Petitioner responded by communication dated 9 June 22 and 7 July 22. Various grounds were taken. Respondent 1 by order dated 31st July 22 passed an order under section 148 AD, rejected the submission, stated as follows. In response to notice dated so and so, the assessee filed replied by letter dated. The reply of the assessee is considered carefully. However, same is not acceptable. The assessee has not submitted any documentary evidence in support of the claim. Overall, the submission made by the assessee is not satisfactory. Thereafter, obviously, इस केस में जैसे सबके साथ हुआ था वैसे ही जो रिस्पोंडेंट का जो रिप्लाई था वो कंसिडर नहीं किया गया और वापस नई 148 उसको इशू की गई. ये पूरे पैरा में वही लिखा है. और जो 148 नई 148 मिली है उसके अगेंस्ट पिटिशनर ने बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट में रिट पिटिशन फाइल की, जैसे कि बहुत सारे एसएससीज ने की थी. At this stage, the petitioner filed this petition impugning the show cause dated 31st March May 22, order dated 31st July 22, 148 AD, and notice dated 31st July 22 under 148 Act. और जो एसएससी है उन्होंने 3-4 ग्राउंड के बेसिस, जो टेक्निकल ग्राउंड्स है उसके बेसिस पे इस नोटिस और इस ऑर्डर को चैलेंज किया है. उसका नटशेल यहाँ लिखा है that these orders and notices are beyond limitation, signed by the wrong specific authority, lack of information as required under section 148, results from the change of opinion in violation of the section 151A of the Act. On the suggestion made by the court, the petitioner confined his submission primarily to signed by the wrong specified authority and change of opinion. इस दोनों बेसिस पे ही पूरा केस है और हाई कोर्ट ने इस दोनों को एक रेशियो बना के पूरा जजमेंट दिया है. The court felt if petitioner succeeds on these 2 points and primarily on the point of wrong specified authority, the court did not go into the other grounds raised. Now on the wrong specified authority, petitioner submitted as under provision of section 149(1) as introduced by the Finance Act provides that notice under 148 can be issued beyond a period of 3 years and up to period of 10 years from the end of the relevant assessment year only if the AO has in his possession books of accounts or other documents or evidence which reveal that the income chargeable to tax represented in form of asset which has escaped amount or is more than 50 lakhs. There is no income chargeable to tax which is represented in form of asset which has escaped assessment, as expenditure on computer software consumable cannot be asset as per section 149. Hence, extended period of time limit under 149 cannot be applied to petitioner and notice issued under 31st July 22 is bad in law. Further, as per 151, the specified 151 में जो specified authority है उसकी permission, उसकी approval चाहिए before issuing notice under 148. तो इस अप्रूवल के बारे में ही ये बता रहे हैं. As per 151, the specified authority who has to be grant his sanction for the purpose of 148 and 148A is the principal chief commissioner or principal director general, or where there is no principal chief commissioner or principal director general, the chief commissioner or the director general, if more than 3 years have elapsed from the end of AY, relevant AY. For AY 16-17, 3 years elapsed on 31st March 20 and hence provision of 151 subclause 1 and 151 subclause 2 of the Act would have to be fulfilled which have not been complied with. यानी जो ये नई नोटिस उन्होंने इशू की है वो नई प्रोविजंस जो रीअसेसमेंट की है 1 अप्रैल 2021 से, उसमें जो 151 में सैंक्शन बताया गया है उसकी सैंक्शन लेनी है, ना कि उसके जो ओल्ड रिजिम में जिसकी सैंक्शन लेनी है उसकी लेंगे तो ये नोटिस वैलिड नहीं है. दैट इज द क्रक्स ऑफ दिस मैटर. और जो रिस्पोंडेंट है यानी डिपार्टमेंट है उन्होंने जो 31 जुलाई की जो नोटिस इशू हुई है, ऑर्डर इशू हुआ है, उसमें प्रायर अप्रूवल 151 के तहत ली थी जो लेस देन 3 इयर्स के लिए एप्लीकेबल है. बट हमें बियॉन्ड 3 इयर्स जाना है तो 151(2) में जाना पड़ेगा. और नॉट सैंक्शन ऑफ such sanction would be bad in law as respondent number 1 should have complied with the 151(2) and not 151(1) subclause 1 of the Act, and respondent cannot be a specified authority as per 151. Respondent number 1 cannot rely on the provision of the TOLA. Again यहाँ TOLA का जिक्र है. and notification issued under 151 of the Act has been amended by the Finance Act, and the provision of the amended section would have to be complied with the respondent with effect from 1st April 21. Hence, the sanction of the specified authority has not been obtained. The impugn order and the notices dated so and so are bad in law and should be quashed and set aside. वाई रेवेन्यू ने बताया कि जो नोटिस इशू है वो कन्वर्टेड है टोला के तहत, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उसको कन्वर्ट किया है डीम नोटिस अंडर सेक्शन 148 ए में, तो उसके लिए अलग से जो 151(2) है उसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी यहाँ एप्लीकेबल नहीं है। और यहाँ उन्होंने पूरा जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट के बाद सीबीडीटी का जो सर्कुलर आया था उसको यहाँ उन्होंने रीइटरेट किया है। For 1617 and 1718, fresh notice under 148 can be issued in these cases with the approval of the specified authority under clause A of the subsection 1 of the new 149, since they are within the period of 3 years from the end of the relevant assessment year. Specified authority under 151 of the new law in this case shall be the authority prescribed under clause 1 of that section. अब यहाँ जो हाईकोर्ट है उसकी फाइंडिंग्स और कंक्लूजन को देखते हैं। Before we proceed further, it would be useful to reproduce section 147, 148, 148A, 9, 151 when then applicable. जो कोर्ट है उन्होंने पूरे जो ये सेक्शन है उनको यहाँ रीइटरेट किया है। कोर्ट ने यहाँ ऐसा बताया, as per the section 151, specified authority who has granted his sanction for the purpose of 148 and 148A is the principal chief commissioner or principal director general, or where there is no principal chief commissioner or director general, chief commissioner or director general, more than 3 years have elapsed from the end of the relevant assessment year. Present petition relates to AY 1617, and as the impugn order and impugn notices are issued beyond the period of 3 years which elapsed on the 31st March 2020, the approval is contemplated under section 151(2) of the Act would have to be obtained, which has not been done by the AO. The impugn notice mentioned that the prior approval has been taken care of, the Principal Commissioner of Income Tax PCIT 8, which is bad in law, as the approval should have been taken care of in terms of the 151(2) and not 151. And the PCIT 8 cannot be the specified authority. Further, even in the affidavit in reply, the department has accepted that the approval obtained is of the PCIT 8 and hence such approval would be bad in law. उसके बाद यहाँ टोला का उन्होंने जिक्र किया है कि टोला में ये नोटिस इशू की है, वो सिर्फ जो नोटिस इशू करने का टाइम लिमिट है उसको एक्सटेंड किया है, बट लॉ जो प्रिवेलिंग है उसको वो ओवरराइड नहीं कर सकता टोला एनेक्टेड 29 September 20 and came into force on 31st March 20 for a relaxation of certain provision of the Act, where any time limit for completion or compliance of an action such as completion of any proceeding or passing of an order or issuance of notice is fell between 20 March 20 to 30 December 20, the time limit for the completion stood extended to 31st March 21. Thus, TOLA only seeks to extend the period of limitation and does not affect the scope of 151. This is very important. TOLA only seeks to extend the period of limitation and does not affect the scope of 151. The AO cannot rely on the provision of TOLA and the notification issued thereunder as section 155 has been amended by the Finance Act, and the provision of the amended section would have to be complied with the AO with effect from 21. Hence, AO cannot seek to take the shelter of TOLA as a subordinate legislation, cannot override any statute enacted by the Parliament. See, TOLA CBDT ने जो enacted जो वो नोटिफिकेशन के द्वारा एक बनाया गया लॉ है वो ओवरराइड नहीं कर सकता। जो पार्लियामेंट ने लॉ बनाया है वो हमेशा ओवरराइड करेगा किसी भी ऐसे लॉ को, सबऑर्डिनेट लॉ को, और एओ उसका शेल्टर लेके नोटिस ऐसे विदाउट जो लॉ है जो इस दिन वो नोटिस इशू हुए दिन वो लॉ उसको सबमिट नहीं कर सकता। Further, the notification extending the dates from 31st March 21 till 30th June 21 cannot apply once the Finance Act is in existence. The sanction of specified authority has to be obtained in accordance with the law existing when the sanction is obtained, and therefore the sanction is required to be obtained by applying 152(1). This court in series of judgments has held that TOLA cannot apply in respect of reassessment proceeding for AY 15-16 and subsequent years. और उसके पहले तो नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते, 50 लाख से कम है वो तो CBDT के सर्कुलर में ही लिखा है। सो यहाँ सारे जो जजमेंट्स है बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने डिलीवर किए थे आफ्टर आशीष अग्रवाल, उसको हाई कोर्ट ने रीइटरेट किया है। टाटा कम्युनिकेशन का जजमेंट है वो अफ्रेम किया था आशीष अग्रवाल के केस में। फिर GM फाइनेंशियल का था एक जजमेंट, उसमें ही सेम था 15-16 असेसमेंट ईयर था, और उसमें भी ऐसी स्टैट्यूटरी जो सैंक्शन है अप्रूवल है वो नहीं ली थी। ये सारे जजमेंट में उसको रीइटरेट किया है। देन यहाँ CBDT के इंस्ट्रक्शन को हाई कोर्ट ने इनवैलिड एररनेस बता दिया है। फर्दर द CBDT इंस्ट्रक्शन नंबर 1/22 at paragraph 6.2 has wrongly stated that notices issued under 148 of the 16-17 are to be considered as having been issued within the period of 3 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, and on the basis that has been wrongly mentioned that the approval of the specified authority under 151 should be taken. This conclusion is premised on the basis that these notices travel back to 31st March 20, which premise is completely erroneous as explained hereunder. मतलब हाई कोर्ट का सिंपली ये कहना है, आपने नोटिस कोई भी डेट पे इशू की हो, वो नोटिस उस दिन का जो लॉ प्रिवेलिंग है वो लॉ की गवर्निंग होगी, ना कि जो लॉ ऑलरेडी रिडंडेंट हो चुका है। मतलब आपने 25 जून 2021 को कोई भी नोटिस इशू की है तो वो नोटिस जो 1 अप्रैल 21 से जो लॉ रीअसेसमेंट की जो रिजिम चेंज हो गई है उस लॉ के बेसिस पे जो पार्लियामेंट ने अप्रूव की है उस लॉ के बेसिस पे गवर्न होगी, ना कि टोला के बेसिस पे या किसी और उसके सबऑर्डिनेट नोटिफिकेशन के बेसिस पे। दैट इज द होल प्रीमाइस ऑफ दिस जजमेंट। द नोटिस सेक्शन 151 ऑफ द एक्ट इज इश्यूड ऑन 31 जुलाई, जो वापस नोटिस इशू की है आफ्टर आशीष अग्रवाल केस के बाद, hence is issued beyond period of 3 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, and accordingly approval of specified authority should be taken. This court held that the section 3(1) of the TOLA merely extend the limitation provided in the specified acts, including Income Tax Act, for doing certain acts, but such acts must be performed in accordance with the provision of the specified act. जैसे कि मैंने बताया, जिस दिन आपने नोटिस इशू की है उस दिन का लॉ प्रिवेलिंग होगा, ओवर ट्रैवल बैक नहीं कर सकते। TOLA only granted power to central government to notify the period during which actions are required to be taken that can be fall within the ambit of TOLA, and the power to extend the time limit within which these actions are to be taken. There was no amendment to provision of section 147 to 151 of the Act. This is very important. The court also observed that the amendments to the substantive provisions of that were envisaged under section 3 of the TOLA, which was only a relaxation provision dealing with the time limits. EO could have assumed jurisdiction while issuing the impugned notice only after complying with the amended section, which has not been done. In data communication, this court also held that TOLA was not applicable for 15-16 or any subsequent year. Hence, question of applicability of notification issued under TOLA would not arise. These findings of the Bombay High Court have not been disturbed by the Apex Court in Ashish Agrawal. The Apex Court only modified the orders passed by the respective High Courts to effect this notices issued under 148, which are subject matter of repetition before various High Courts and shall be deemed to have been issued under 148 AB of the Act, and EO was to erect it provided 30 days to representative assessee to respective assessee to information and material relied upon by the revenue, so that the assessee would rely back to the show cause notices within 2 weeks thereafter. Apex High Court has held that the AO shall thereafter pass an order in terms of 148 AD in respect of each of the concerned assessee. Thereafter, following the procedures as required under 148A, may issue notice under 148. Apex Court also expressly kept open all the contentions which may be available to the assessee, including those available under 149 of the Act, and all rights and contentions which may be available to the concerned SSC and revenue under Finance Act 21 and in law shall be continued to be available. यानी वो जो आशीष अग्रवाल का डिसीजन आया था उसमें हाई कोर्ट ने ऐसा, अपेक्स कोर्ट ने यानी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ऐसा बोला था कि जो भी डिफेंस अवेलेबल है आफ्टर इशूइंग दिस ऑर्डर वो एसएससी को अवेलेबल होंगे, और जो नई प्रोसीजर है नए रिजिम में उसको कंप्लाई फॉलो करने के बाद एओ डिसीजन ले सकता है कि वो रीओपन करना है कि नहीं है, वो बाय डिफॉल्ट रीओपन नहीं हो सकता. Notwithstanding that, CBDT has issued instruction number 1 contrary to what courts have held. Even by the finding of the apex court, only the original notice issued under 148 of the Act was converted into a notice deemed to have been issued under 148AB. The apex court held that the AO shall thereafter pass an order in terms of the 148AB in respect of each of the SSC and after following the procedures as required under 148. Even the judgment in Ashish Agrawal does not anywhere indicate that the notices that could be issued for eternity like this in case of 31st July would be sanctioned by an authority other than sanctioning authority defined under the Act. और वन स्टेप गोइंग फर्दर, हाई कोर्ट ने ऐसा भी रूल किया कि जो इंस्ट्रक्शन सीबीडीटी की थी दैट इज एप्लीकेबल टू फॉर द पीरियड जो नोटिस इशू हुई है 1st April 20 and ending with the 30th June 21 within the extended TOLA. And since the impugned notice in this case dated 31st July 22, the instruction shall have no applicability at all. This is very also important thing क्योंकि यहाँ जो 148 के नोटिस बाद में इशू हुई है वो टोला के अंदर एप्लीकेबल, उसको टोला एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, तो उसको जो सीबीडीटी का इंस्ट्रक्शन है वो भी एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, मतलब 16/7 के लिए आप कोई नोटिस इशू नहीं कर सकते. Even for a moment, if we accept Revenue's argument that the apex court's finding in Ashish Agrawal read with the time of TOLA will allow extended reassessment notices to travel back to their original date when such notices were issued and then new sanction 140 has to be applied, the extended reassessment notices are defined under the instruction to be notices issued between 1st April 21 and ending with 30th June 21. Therefore, the instruction would not help the respondent's case at all. So on first basis, first ratio is laid down कि जो टोला है वो नोटिस जो सब्सिक्वेंट आशीष अग्रवाल जो नोटिस इशू हुए है उसको एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, वो इंस्ट्रक्शन भी एप्लीकेबल नहीं है सीबीडीटी का, और प्रॉपर अप्रूवल ली नहीं गई है तो वैलिड नोटिस नहीं है. उसके बाद दूसरा रेशियो उन्होंने ले डाउन किया है चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन का. On the facts of this case, as regards to the change of opinion, the information made available is the same reason to believe. If one considered is clearly, it is indicates a change of opinion. यहाँ assessment already एक बार conclude हो चुका है. Para 2 to 6 of the information read as follows. Brief details of the information collected by the AO. On perusal of the records, it is noticed that the company has debited an amount of 6.41 crore on account of the software consumables as other expenses to the P&L. उसको यहाँ कैपिटल रेवेन्यू के बारे में जो बाइफर्केशन है उसकी बात की है, जो कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर है उसको डिसअलाउंस की बात की है. सो दैट इज चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन यहाँ कोर्ट ने बताया है. During the course of assessment proceedings, notice had been issued to petitioner in reply to the so-and-so. Petitioner has had letter dated, recorded, based upon our discussion during the course of hearing, the transactions by summary of the software consumable was made available. This was considered during the assessment proceeding and the assessment order accepted revised return came to be the passed. So जो ओरिजिनल असेसमेंट हुआ था उसके दौरान ये पूरी इन्फॉर्मेशन एओ द्वारा मांगी गई थी और एसएससी ने सप्लाई भी की थी और वो रिकॉर्ड पे भी थी. अब वापस एओ उसी इंफॉर्मेशन को बेस बना के रीओपन करना चाहता है, विच इज चेंजेस ऑफ ओपिनियन एंड नॉट अलाउड इन लॉ. The assessing officer does not have any power to review his own assessment when during the original assessment petitioner provided all the relevant information which was considered by him before passing an assessment order. So petitioner has debited an amount of so and so on account of software consumable in the P&L account and detailed breakup of the said expenses were submitted before the AO during the course of assessment proceedings. It is settled law that the proceeding under Section 148 cannot be initiated to review the earlier stand adopted by the AO. AO cannot initiate reassessment proceeding to have relook at the documents that were filed and considered by him in the original proceedings, as the power to reassess cannot be exercised to review an assessment. Power of assessment and power of review both are different things. In the petitioner case, the AO having allowed the amount of software consumable as a revenue expenditure now seeks to treat the same as capital, which is clear change of opinion. Various judicial precedents have held that reassessment proceedings initiated on the basis of mere change of opinion are invalid and without jurisdiction. Or even in case of even Supreme Court held the same. So the Apex Court in Galvinator of India emphasized that on the difference between the power to review and power to reassess. Apex Court held that the AO has no power to review but has only power to reassess. The concept of change of opinion must be treated as inbuilt test to check the abuse of power by the AO. यहाँ क्लियरली चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन है, AO के पास रीअसेस करने का पावर है, रिव्यू खुद का ही, जो खुद ने ही असेसमेंट किया है उसको रिव्यू वापस नहीं कर सकता. एक बार जो ओपिनियन ले लिया, जो स्टैंड ले लिया, he must stick to it and he cannot reassess on that basis. While concluding, Revenue submitted that the effect of the setting aside notice on the ground of not having obtained proper sanction would result in stalling the entire reassessment proceeding. Rajasthan High Court in Sudesh Taneja held that the taxing statute must be interpreted strictly. Equity has no place in taxation, nor while interpreting taxing statute indemnity would have any place. There is nothing unjust in the taxpayer escaping if the letter of the law fails to catch him on the account of legislature failure to express itself clearly. It is axiomatic that the taxation statute has to be interpreted strictly because the state cannot at their own whims and fancies burden the citizens without authority of law, जो कि reassessment की सारी proceedings में हो रहा है. In the matter of interpretation of charging section of a taxation statute, strict rule of interpretation is mandatory if there are two reviews possible. In manner of interpretation of charging section, the one favorable to the assessee need to be applied, which is universally applicable. अगर strict interpretation होना चाहिए taxing statute का, और अगर दो व्यूज पॉसिबल है तो जो एसएससी की फेवर में है वो व्यूज हमेशा कोर्ट कंसिडर करती है. In the circumstances, we make the rule absolute and allow the petition for the following reasons. The approval of the issuance of notice under 148 AD has not been properly obtained and hence the order passed thereafter and consequent notice have to be quashed and set aside. The sanction ought to be granted under 151(2) and not 151(1). The notice to reopen has also been issued on the basis of change of opinion, which is not permissible. Since we have disposed the petition on this ground, we have not considered the other grounds which can be considered in some other matter at the appropriate stage. So that was court's order. So friends, this was a very important ruling on reassessment cases. आने वाले दिनों में देखते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जो पिटिशन पेंडिंग है उसमें अपेक्स कोर्ट क्या रूलिंग देती है. तब तक ये रूलिंग ऑब्वियसली वैलिड है और इसमें कोर्ट ने बहुत ही सुंदर तरीके से जो टोला है और उसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी है, उसकी लिमिटेशंस क्या है उसको बताया है. सीबीडीटी के इंस्ट्रक्शंस को भी उन्होंने इनवैलिड और एररनेस बताया है, जो कि बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट था बिकॉज 1617 और 1718 के मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस रीओपन हुए हैं विदाउट कंसिडरिंग एसएससी's रिप्लाई. सो उनको इस केस में उन लोगों को ज़्यादा फ़ायदा होने वाला है. थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग माई वीडियो. हैव अ गुड डे.